A massive thank you to Will, Catarok, Renato and Dominic for subscribing to the channel. If you want to be featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with the start of Season 2 of our F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. Yes, of course, if you missed out on the driver transfer video that went live yesterday, definitely worth going back and checking out, of course, as we head into the Sakir Grand Prix weekend. Of course, winter testing, all done and dusted, things looking very interesting as we head into the new year. I think we've still got a little bit of money to try and go for one more facility upgrade as well before we dive into the first weekend of the year. Anything that we can afford. It might have to be a personnel or a simulator upgrade, having a look at it. Anything from marketing? Apparently not. No more upgrades at the moment. We need to wait and try and earn a bit more cash there. But of course, as we head into the new year, obviously we ran through the current order as well. There you can see we're right nestled now ahead of Alfa Romeo. They're right with Alpine. A little bit of a step up to McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari and Aston Martin there. And of course, Mercedes heading into the new year looking as strong as ever there. But of course, a few driver changes have made things very interesting as we head into the new year. And of course, our new switch to Renault Power for Season 2 as well, going to make things very spicy over the course of the year. Now, like we said in the pre-season video, didn't have much faith in Ferrari after all the engine blow-ups late on in the year for obviously Haas, Alfa Romeo, and ourselves as well there. So yeah, really wasn't great to see from Ferrari. But yeah, heading back into the first race of the year though, here in Bahrain, I just want to dive right into it. Let's get into the first race of the year. Right, well here we are then in Sakir, ready for the start of Season 2. Obviously you can hear the distinctive different sound of our brand new Renault Power Unit in the back of the car. Going to be interesting to see how we fare over the first couple of weekends of the year. Now, I probably won't show much free practice footage anymore.
Coming up. Get ready to open it. Distance is on your MFD.
Yeah, like I was saying, I probably won't show much free practice anymore, obviously, in this series, because it's pretty, you know, it's a lot more sort of like background stuff rather than sort of racing. But yeah, we'll wait and see as to how we get on. Sort of first practice of the year. You know, we want to try and settle down into a good rhythm, see how the car handles, see how different it is relative to last year's model. Seems a lot more stable at the rear for the most part, or when it is snapping, it's much less. You know, it's a lot more catchable as well there. Perhaps that's to do with the torque curve of the Renault unit in the back. We don't really know for sure, but whatever it is, I'm liking the balance of the car so far. Well, coming to the end of our free practice program, so the car feels really nice and balanced so far, I'll be honest. Yeah, definitely doesn't feel as oversteer as we used to get with the Ferrari power unit in the back, and we're pretty quick through the speed traps as well here in Sakir. Down towards the line, it's going to be the purple score.
Great lap. You've nailed what we asked for. Keep it up.
I think, yeah, we're ready for qualifying. Let's see what we can muster up. Right, here we are then, qualifying day here in Sakir. Really not too sure what our mindsets would be heading into the new year. We should be a consistent Q2 performer over the course of the year, but it's how much risk we take in Q1 to make sure we get the car through into that second session there. Pace is still a little bit of an unknown. Of course, early on in the year, you never quite know whether one team's got a mega car over one lap and just no race pace or something like that. Hopefully we're not that team, of course. No points awarded on a normal Saturday, but fingers crossed. Obviously we can keep it clean and tidy and try and get a good lap in here. Pretty tidy lap so far. Definitely feels like this car's a whole lot more consistent than last year's variant. Of course, with just the more upgrades you get on the chassis and the aerodynamics, it just makes it a whole lot more stable when you can put in those consistent laps, you know, over and over there. You can see that turn 11, I think that is so much easier to take flat out now than in last year's car as well. There a little bit of a mistake through turn 12, but heading down in towards the final corner of the lap, they're still almost approaching 200 miles an hour. Goes to show just how much quicker this thing is at the final corner. Down towards the line there. Not the best lap in the world, certainly a little bit more on the card. So 125.9 though. Leaves us behind Lungard in the second off Stroll. Yeah, definitely not the best lap in the world. Right, well, heading back out then at the end of the session there. We are still now down in last place here in Q1, so we need to try and get a good lap hooked up here. We need about another second over that first run if we want to try and get ourselves into Q2 for the first race of the year. Qualifying pace around Bahrain has never been particularly brilliant for me. Always struggled just to quite get the maximum out of the car in the first weekend of the year there, and that is not going to help us there. A little bit deep in through turn 1. Hopefully we can get the power through turn 2 nice and tidy there. There we go, so that is a 10th still discovered through the first sector of the lap. But yeah, now we just need to be brave around the rest of the circuit here. Really chuck it in at the top of the hill there. Use all the exit curb. And down through turn 5 and turn 6, nudge the curb on the way in. Try to avoid the one on the way out. We're 3/10 up now, so it hasn't been too bad of a start to the lap there. We are finding a little bit of time and pace where we need to. I think our teammate is set at 25.1 there, and he's sat in about P14 at the moment. So that's roughly where we need to be aiming for on this lap. Now just 4.5 tenths up, so we have found a fair chunk of time. And the second half of the lap was definitely the sloppier half. Keep it clean, really get the car over. So worried the car's still going to break traction there. That's a lot better as well. They didn't really want to dip down into second gear, but we're still finding more and more time as we head in towards the final corner of this lap. Don't make any mistakes through the final turn, Matt. Try to avoid the inside curbing. Out of the final corner, it is going to be a 7/10 improvement there. Is it going to be good enough for Q2? Oh, I don't know. I didn't see the times. Oh, please. Oh, it's so close. Have we made it through Schwartzman on a 25.0? Oh, we haven't made Q2. We're down behind Valtteri Bottas in the end there. A 10th off our teammate at the end of qualifying there, and that has definitely set us back a little bit more than I would have wanted at the start of the year here. P18 on the grid for the Bahrain Grand Prix there. Like we said, only, what, a 10th of making Q2 there, and definitely felt there was more and more pace in the car. That is well and truly heartbreaking there. Guan Yu Zhou in his first F1 session makes it through into Q2 though, so GG's to him and the AlphaTauri team. They're actually done a lot better than we expected them to do at the start of the year. Yuki Tsunoda P3, Daniel Ricciardo though split in the new Mercedes duo as well. There you can see Ferrari and Red Bull just a little way off the likes of McLaren and Mercedes there. George Russell quicker than Lance Stroll in his first session for Aston Martin. But that is not the way we wanted to kickstart this weekend. P18 on the grid. We're just going to have to buckle down. Hope that we get maybe a well-timed safety car. But yeah, definitely feel there's a lot more pace in the car. Let's dive in to the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. We go racing today around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit, with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left tyre into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. A new season then, a clean slate where anything could happen. Anthony Davidson is with me today as we get another year of Formula One underway.
We're into those tense few minutes before the first race then. Everyone's a little bit nervous about reliability. They haven't been running in the hot, turbulent wake of other cars in practice. They've not been pushing at 100% for long durations. Let's hope no one has to deal with any nasty surprises.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Sainz, Yuki Tsunoda and Verstappen, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Gasly and Lance Stroll, Ricciardo, they've taken a grid penalty, Ocon, Robert Schwartzman and Zhou, Lundgaard, Bottas, Mr. Monaco and Sergio Perez, Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher, Latifi and Nikita Mazepin. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Really not sure how on earth people have got penalties for the very first race of the year here, unless of course it was impeding another car in qualifying. But we are here then ready for the Sakir Grand Prix round 1 of the new year here, and not too sure how thirsty the Renault power unit is going to be as well, so we'll put 1 extra lap of fuel in the car. They're going to be a pretty simple one-stop, obviously starting outside of the top 10, but just going to put qualifying behind us. Shouldn't be too big of a worry, like I said. The actual, the car, you know, race pace, the straight line speed is really, really good in this thing. So hopefully as long as we can stick close to people through the twisty bits, we can try and fly past them down the straights. Lap 1, I want to be aggressive, but obviously don't want to be too risky and lose the front wing as well here. So let's dive in to the Bahrain Grand Prix, round 1 of Season 2 of the My Team career mode there. Bottas in front, Perez behind us, 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. Big amount of wheel spin there as we try to get the power down as both the Haas cars have a look behind us in towards turn 1. Everyone bunching up on the inside there. Don't want to go into the side of our teammate there. A little bit of contact actually with Sergio. Don't think we've got any damage from that one. Just wheel to wheel between myself and the Red Bull there. So we have lost the 1 spot off the start, of course, to the Red Bull man, who I'm sure will be looking to try and slice and dice his way through the field over the course of this Grand Prix. They're starting on the softs as well. Should mean that, yeah, he should be, I mean, he's got a much quicker car than all of us anyway that he's battling with, but yeah, should be able to really fly through the order. It's actually Perez goes a little bit slow there. Doesn't want to have a look up the inside of Valtteri Bottas, of course, in his first Grand Prix for Williams. Bottas, yeah, certainly just needs to absolutely trounce Nicholas Latifi over the course of this year. There is round the outside of Perez through turn 9 and turn 10. Come on, get the power down on the exit. They're still battling it out with Checo here as we head down in towards sector 3. And we hook it up around the outside. The Red Bull not giving up on it. And yeah, no, just not enough grip out there. Or enough bravery, I'll be honest, on lap 1 of this Grand Prix. Huge amount of understeer there as the Red Bull, of course, able to take that flat out even in race trim early on. But yeah, we unfortunately have to slot back in there. So have lost the 1 spot off the start there. Hamilton still leads the way. It looks like the Ferraris have got the better of Lando Norris on lap 1 as well here, but Hamilton, yeah, obviously now wants to make it world title number 9 after those very, very controversial finish to last year. Perez, though, having a look on Bottas back down towards turn 1. Not a battle you'd expect to be seeing for P16, but here you go. In towards the first corner. Is Bottas going to be able to hold on? Can we try and get a bit of a cut back on the pair of them? On the exit of the corner there, Bottas gets all caught out over the curbs there. We almost ended up in the gravel trap trying to get round him. Giovinazzi's going to have a look past him as well. As Bottas tries to send it again, we have to give him some room, but we have now held on to our grid position there in a very, very exciting but dramatic lap 1. And we got yellow flags. Who's got issues? Oh my! Really, Codys? Really? With new Renault power unit, we spoke about the reliability of the Ferrari last year. And Robert Schwartzman's first Grand Prix of the year has already gone up in smoke, barely 5 miles in. That does not bode well for us. That is so heartbreaking for our teammate Robert Schwartzman at the start of the new year there. Remember, of course, we've signed a 2-year deal with Renault. We will have to use their power units as well for next year, and if they're going to keep blowing up like that 2 laps into a Grand Prix, I'm not going to be happy.
Some information on Mazepin. They have some kind of mechanical problem.
Well, that gives us a little bit of, just a little bit of help. The fact that Ferrari power units are still not good, but yeah, not happy.
Caution.
Oh, more yellow flags. Who's now got issues in this Grand Prix?
There's an incident in the next part of the track. No overtaking through the.
Is it one of the Mercedes? Is it Yuki Tsunoda already? Have Mercedes got just as many issues as Ferrari and Renault? Yes, Yuki Tsunoda, in his first Grand Prix for Mercedes there, has had to pull over to the wayside, and I'm guessing that's been another power unit failure.
Okay.
So weirdly enough there goes Yuki Tsunoda's engine, and he has to pull over in this Grand Prix there. So 2 expensive engines going up there, and like we said, Ferrari with issues as well. It seems that it's only Honda that haven't had any trouble so far. We can't really even say Honda have had no issues so far either, because Perez has had grid penalties for this one. So every single engine manufacturer struggling here in the desert heat of Sakir, but really doesn't bode well for the customers.
We're slowly gaining on the car in front. Try to keep this momentum.
Gasly's first man into the pits there, clearly having no confidence on his soft tyres, only 5 laps in. It's not great from Pierre, but pushed the AlphaTauri back down the order. Guan Yu Zhou is currently sat in the points in his first Grand Prix for AlphaTauri here, but he is certainly now causing a bit of train for the likes of, I think it's Esteban Ocon, obviously Christian Lundgaard, our former teammate, and Sergio Perez as well here. So yeah, we are now in a train extending into the points. Let's start getting some DRS and hope we can move our way through. Load of pitters now at the end of lap 7. At least we don't need to worry about who gets first call down at our team anymore, but still absolutely heartbreaking for our teammate Robert Schwartzman here. We are now closing in on Sergio Perez. You can see the likes of George Russell, Alonso, Carlos Sainz there, and Hamilton all into the pits as Perez has a look at the inside of Lundgaard. We'll have a look around the outside of Perez though through turn 1. Taking the Red Bull, a bit by surprise there. Big kick of oversteer on the exit, somehow held on to that. Don't think would have been able to do that last season with how much looser the old car was. But now up to 8th, and we got Hamilton and Perez both right behind us. Hamilton's going to be looking past Sergio here, as I'm sure Checo, yeah, he's going to be diving into the pits at the end of lap 8. Can we get a run though on our former teammate Christian Lundgaard? Obviously very unceremoniously sacked halfway through last year. Perez into the pits. Hamilton now will be trying to close in on us as we have a look past Lundgaard here. A couple more cars into the pits. Down around the outside of our former teammate. Can we get much later on the brakes? They're actually running ourselves a bit deep through turn 1. At the inside for turn 2 though, again a big kick of wheel spin. But we're now up another spot in this Grand Prix there. Hamilton's going to try and follow us past him in this race. Are we going to see Lewis get right around the outside there? He's certainly going to try it, and I think he's completed the move. So Lundgaard losing 2 spots in one go. I don't think it's going to be long before Hamilton slides past us. This car definitely seems to have come alive as the rubber's got a little bit older. As soon as I say that, I get a little bit unsettled over the curbs. I've completely jinxed myself there, haven't I? As Hamilton now is going to be able to get past us. Don't really want to fight him too much in this race.
To start falling away soon.
Team saying grip levels are going to fall away soon. But are we going to see Hamilton now try and slide past Esteban Ocon here? As I think we've got, I'm going to say, yeah, must be Lance Stroll, who's always extending his stint just that little bit further than anyone else there. Guan Yu Zhou under a lot of pressure. There's a little bit of contact there with Hamilton. Wasn't trying to get up the inside there through turn 1. Sure, Lewis not happy with that one, but that's cost us both a bit. Oh, Hamilton trying to look around the outside of Esteban Ocon through the final corner. So much battling going on early on in this Grand Prix there as Sakir, yeah, really does provide some good action. But Ocon has to bail out of that one. Not really worth fighting it, as now he's focusing on his mirrors. To the outside of Esteban Ocon, back down towards turn 1. He's actually going to send it up Hamilton. No, he's not. He does get the car slotted in. We go right around the outside, though, and that's another move. Another huge kick of oversteer on the exit of turn 1 there. Ocon now going to try and come back at us, or force him to the inside very aggressively. Much later on the brakes as well at the top of the hill. And a little bit wide there over the white line. But we have now moved up into, I think, net P11, I want to say. We don't really know where we are in this Grand Prix anymore. As now the 8-time champion hounds the rookie Guan Yu Zhou. Yellow flags out now in this Grand Prix. Who else has got issues here? It's one of the Williams by the looks of it. So, oh no, have they? Let's have a look. So very weird from Valtteri Bottas there. Locks up by himself. And just decides he's going to sit on the side of the circuit. Okay, Valtteri, you do you. Really want to try and get past Zhou before the pit stop window here. As, yeah, I think Lance Stroll is looking comfortable early on in this Grand Prix. They're the one-stop OP for some of the top midfield runners. Can really elevate themselves up the order here. But, yeah, not going to be pitting this lap. I think it's going to be the next one. We'll be diving it in. I want to get past the young Chinese driver before then. It's so difficult early on here in Sakir. We're just having to try and defend from some much faster cars behind us. But also still trying to apply some pressure to Guan Yu Zhou in front. Don't really want Norris to go for anything at the moment. Feel like he could probably follow us past the AlphaTauri if he really wanted to in this race. But so many issues for so many cars early on. But happy that we have been able to get ourselves away from the back market cars there. Can we get a run in towards, or out of the final corner even, I should say. As Lando again tries to have a bit of a sniff at the inside. Is Zhou going to pit? No, he's not. So surely now he's going to be a sitting duck back down towards turn 1 there to the inside of the young Chinese driver. There we go, clean past him there. Lando Norris is likely to do the same. Back down towards turn 1. Just a little bit careful, they might come together. I think they have, as Guan Yu Zhou has lost 3 spots in one go there.
Dropping a second a lap to the car behind, 1 second.
We're going to let Lando just slot past us up the hill. As now, yeah, Guan Yu Zhou losing a handful of spots in one moment there, but we're going to dive in the end of this one. Right round in the final corner, get ready to pit then. Lance Stroll, the Canadian, has dived in as well, if I'm not mistaken, so Hamilton will re-inherit the lead of this Grand Prix, but everyone has still got one stop to go here in Sakir. Nice and aggressive on the way in there, just to make the car slow down in time. There's Guan Yu Zhou behind us here, he's going to dive it in as well there. Stroll is looking very, very comfortable in this Grand Prix, it must be said early on here. So yeah, we're probably going to slot back in around towards the rear. Of course, we will have a few guys in one lap later. 2 seconds stop is a lot better than we've seen in the past from the team as well, as we're going to come back out in P15 of this race. Of course, only 20 runners left.
The white line on the exit will receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
But obviously, a lot of guys still have got to pit here, so I think we might be close to the points by the end. Huge train of cars now into the pits as we cross over the halfway stage of this race. Really just trying to get these hards into the operator window as well. We've got 3 more in, so we're going to be back up into P12 of this race.
Ahead is 5.8 seconds.
Surely, I think we've still got another couple that need to pit there. Of course, Perez and Gasly not going to the end either. So surely, yeah, we're going to be at least close to the points at the end of today. Oh, there we go. Ricciardo and Leclerc back into the pit lane. Are we going to come out anywhere near the pair of them here? Of course, they have had a bit of an undercut on us. There is Daniel Ricciardo as we head back down towards turn 1. Of course, they're now both going to the end of this race, so we are pretty much, yeah, right up with them here. But, of course, they're going to be so much quicker towards the end of this Grand Prix. We'll take a lap's worth of DRS. Thank you very much, Daniel Ricciardo. There we go as well. Gasly into the pits.
Is 5.8 seconds.
Now up into the dreaded P11 in this race. We've still got another 11 or 12 laps to go, and Perez has still got a pit, as well as maybe a couple of the other guys. And there we go. As we round the final corner of lap 18, another 3 into the pits. Ricciardo, their new fast lap of the Grand Prix. 4 actually into the pit lane, so we are going to move past Alonso here as well. There, Russell and Verstappen. And this is the great thing about this new car is, although we're still slower than a lot of those guys, we've got enough pace that we might just be able to hang on around them or not lose anywhere near as much pace. Up into P8 now of the Grand Prix, and I think we've still got another couple to pit there. Look at the mini-map, though, the gap Hamilton's got at this stage of the day with no particular rival in his teammate. And Ferrari and McLaren still not quite there. Hamilton, yeah, looking very, very comfortable here in the first race of the year. And starting lap 20, the last, I think, of the pitters here. Sergio Perez in. So we're now up to 7th place of this Grand Prix. Oh, how I would love to finish here as Ocon and Guan Yu Zhou still losing a little bit of time to us lap after lap. We are definitely now a midfield runner here on F1 2021. Red Bull have definitely dropped behind Ferrari and McLaren as we head into Season 2, but it hasn't stopped Max Verstappen. Still making good progress in this Grand Prix. They're flying past Esteban Ocon, and now we are the next man in his sights. Yeah, I don't think sensibly there's going to be a lot we can do against Max Verstappen at this stage of the Grand Prix. There's 6 laps to go still, and he's going about a second and a half lap faster than me at this stage. Obviously, a lot of that has come from the fresher, softer rubber, but yeah, don't think we're really going to be able to defend from him, and really don't want to end up battling him too hard and then falling back into the likes of Ocon in this Grand Prix. So we might have to relinquish our P7 here in Sakir. Is Verstappen going to get close enough back down towards turn 1 there? There he goes to the inside. Pretty even, actually, on the brakes. I don't really want to fight this too hard, buddy, and we will slot in behind. So Verstappen now moves himself back up into P7 here. And yeah, we've still got 3 seconds to walk on Guan Yu Zhou behind there. Are we going to see Zhou score points on his F1 debut? Well, heading into the final lap then of the Bahrain Grand Prix. And boy oh boy has it fell into place for us today there. I was a little bit worried after qualifying, I'll be honest. Not making it out of Q1, but I knew the car had some good race pace in it.
This is your final lap of the race.
Obviously based on Friday practice, as well the Ocon and Guan Yu Zhou hanging on for dear life ahead of George Russell and Pierre Gasly in this Grand Prix as well. There is, Guan Yu Zhou's actually pulled off the move on Ocon. Has he done it? I don't think he has there. I think Ocon has just about held on this time around. But yeah, clearly getting very, very feisty between those guys, which has allowed us just to keep this little bubble of safety late on in the Grand Prix. There's Zhou and now George Russell battling it out as well there. And I think Russell has pulled off the move on Guan Yu Zhou there. So heartbreak for Guan Yu Zhou to lose out on points right at the end of his very first Formula 1 Grand Prix there. Hamilton, though, is going to flex his big Mercedes muscles in this race and pick up the first race of the year there with a dominant display. Obviously, a little bit of questions raised from Yuki Tsunoda's engine failure, but I'm sure Mercedes will work out what went wrong there. McLaren are going to come through for P2 and P3 there. Seem to just have the edge over Ferrari at this early stage of the year there. Carlos Sainz, who finished last year so strong in 4th. Obviously, then we've got Stroll and Leclerc, Max Verstappen down in P7. They're not the start to the year Red Bull would have wanted as well there. But P8 from 18th or 17th on the grid for round 1 of the year here in Sakir. I will take that very, very happily indeed. It's points on the board here in Bahrain.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
The Mercedes team pulled out a fantastic performance today. They should be proud. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the Drivers' Table. Lewis Hamilton takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Well, Crofty, Daniel Ricciardo would have to be my driver of the day. It's less about what he did right, but how little he did wrong. Perfect driving.
Let's move on to the Constructors. McLaren supplant the previous leaders, taking control of the championship. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, there we are then, guys. The end of the Bahrain Grand Prix there. And it is Lewis Hamilton who takes home the race victory for Mercedes. Their pole position, fastest lap race victory. It never really looked in question from the British driver there. Lando Norris, though, in P2. So both Brits there, 1-2 on the grid, finishing 1-2 at the end of the day there. But Daniel Ricciardo, a brilliant drive from the Australian, really muscling towards his teammate at the very end of the race there. And for the first time since 2014, McLaren lead the Constructors' World Championship as well there. Carlos Sainz in P4 ahead of Lance Stroll there. Fantastic job by him on the one stop in P5 ahead of Leclerc, Verstappen and myself. They're also on the one stop alongside Esteban Ocon as well. George Russell does get points for Aston Martin on his debut for the team as well, which means he's scored points now for 3 Mercedes-powered teams, and 2 of those points came in Bahrain as well, so I'm sure he's happy with that to start the year as well there. Guan Yu Zhou does end up only just beating his new teammate Pierre Gasly there, obviously on the much preferred strategy as well, and then you can see Alonso and Sergio Perez right behind him there. Alfa Romeo 15th and 16th on paper doesn't seem too good, but only a handful of seconds away from the points as well for Christian Lundgaard there. An interesting start to the year for them. And then, of course, you got the Haas and the Williams cars rounding out the order there. Just Yuki Tsunoda and our teammate Schwartzman not making it through to the checkered flag at the start of the year. There is a little bit heartbreaking for us, but I'm sure we will work out what went wrong in the Grand Prix as well. There obviously means championship-wise exactly the same. Constructors-wise, though, McLaren lead the way 7 ahead of Mercedes there. Ferrari in at P3 ahead of Aston Martin there. Red Bull in 5th. We are in 6th place there ahead of Alpine and AlphaTauri there. So I think 6th, the battle might be on this year. We'll wait and see as to what Alpine can do over the course of the year. They have a very, very quick car on paper, but clearly here in Bahrain just not quite working the way they would have wanted it. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and yeah, we'll be back very, very soon. With round 2 of the year, we head to Spain. You guys do not want to miss it. Of course, none of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to the Travesty, Patrick, Chuan, David and Ben for becoming channel members. Of course, if you want to be featured in these end clips below, make sure you click that join button and you'll get access to some other exclusive perks as well.